I think Chaos it's TV show on Netflix, especially if you like Greece, if you like Greek myths and other stuff what is connected with Greece. The show is very entertainment, and this book a little bit but still remind me of this show. This book has contrast between ancient Greece and modern language. You will find many American modern curses. Sometimes you confuse, is it ancient Greece or it's somewhere on the street in Brooklyn. When you're reading this book, it so much seems that you're in the Greece, this atmosphere of the ancient market, of ancient bar, of ancient people, and all of this, it seems that you're really in the Greece. And their food, how they're eating bread with olives and cheese all the time, and there's the ships, of course, how it can be Greece without ships. When Lempo, the main character of this book, and he thought to be with Lyra or not to be, he just look for the signs around. This book is about two best friends who is unemployed and who loves drink a lot. One day they decided that they love theater and they want to make their own performance. At the beginning of the book it seems like funny joke, but when you continue to read that more, you see that it's not a joke and it's not just a book but tragedy play in Greece. I don't want to waste your time. If you're looking advised to read this book or not, definitely read this book. Even if it's a beginning it seems a little bit ridiculous and boring, still continue read. For sure this book wouldn't disappoint you. So let's start discuss the book. This historical novel set in Sicily in 412 years before Christ, after Athens loses a war against Syracuse during the Peloponnesian War. Have you been in Sicily in 412 before Christ? No, I've been because I read this book, and really, if you will read this book, you will see all atmosphere. Of course, no one can say for sure how it was there, but for me, it was already enough to read this book and just a little bit feel how it was that time. Two unemployed authors and the best friend Lempo and Gelon, who drink all the time, decided to stage a full performance of Medea. They decided using the prisoners who are trapped in a stone quarry as actor. Those prisoners are Assassins. Of course, for those performance, you need money. They found one strange guy, and his name is Turian. He is no one sure exactly who he is. At the present, he is a captain on the ship. He loves to collect used weapons with plenty of blood. Lempo and Gillen, they found some weapon and decided to use their own blood. They came to Tyrion and tried to sell this weapon, and Tyrion had some weird conversation with them, and also he suggests that he can show them a goat because he captured some goat. I'm afraid, but Gillen, he decided to see what is a god. What he said at the end of the book, that he seen just his wife and daughter. Magellan's wife and daughter killed some years ago. He's still grieving and he never again married. Tyrion liked their idea and he decided to give them money for performance and be their producers. So Lempo and Gillen, they are directors. They decided to make performance of their favorite writers Euripides, Trojan women. Love story of Lempo and Lyra. Lyra works in the bar and she is waitress, and also she is slave. She is from Libya and seems from the rich family. Lempo, he is fall in love with her and he invite her for the date, and he was very disappointed when he will ask her owner that he wants to take her to the date, and owner told him how much money she cost, and actually Lempo understands that you can do with her whatever you want for the money, but of course he didn't do anything what it can hurt her. They have beautiful walk next to the ocean. Lempo decided that he won't buy Lyra, and afterwards she can do whatever she wants because he will give her freedom. Owner says that it will cost 300 drachma. It's a huge money, and Lempo says that no matter what, he will keep his word and he will buy you. And here it is, the performance was made, Medea and Trojan women. It was plenty people show up and watch it, but Lamp and Gillan, they quite didn't understood how Syracuse's people, they still heard of the war, and plenty of them, of course, lost their relatives, their friends. So unfortunately, Trojan women and Medea, they turned like as a huge tragedy, because Beaton, leader of other people, who is extremely angry with Lampo and Gillan, he show up on the stage and kill all Athenians who played on the stage. After this massacre, Lampo and Gillan, they fortunately stay alive, but Syracuse's government, they decided that enough to keep Athens in the core, and they need to do something with this. So they decided to build something different, place where they capture Athens. And there are still hundreds of Athenians. So Lampo decided to save some of them at least. So during the night, they make some hole on the fence, and some Athenians, they came to the wagon what is Lampo prepared before. They moved to Hikara. It's another fort town where they supposed to meet with Turian. Turian was agree to save some Athenians and bring them home. Turian asked Lampo and Gillan join to him, and they can travel, and they could work for him, and they will have a beautiful life. But Lampo and Gillan, they reject because they're home here in Syracuse. And Turian, he told them that probably they never seen each other again, and as goodbye, he asked them that if they need something, he will try to do it. Lampo asked him 300 drachmas to buy lira, but when Lampo showed up in the bar and asked about lira, owner of the bar, he told him that Turian already bought lira. And we see at the end of the book that Lampo already old man, and he continues stay in his town, and people around him running for the safest places because Syracuse is occupied by
Carthaginians.
Them. Gillan already died at that time, but before when he died, he set up a school and he taught kids the Iliad. So that's the end of the book. So let's discuss the book. I bought because obviously cover of the book. I like this cover. When I started reading the book, it was confusing, and I leave it for few months. A few days ago, I continued read this book, and I so enjoyed it. Some moments, it's so much wise book and so interesting quotes and ideas. So let's more talk about this. So here we have a moment when Turian gave money for Lampo and Gillan, and they went to find costumes for their performance. And Lampo, who was responsible for the money, he spent mostly of the money for some expensive shoes, for some expensive clothes, but he doesn't need so much, but he anyway spent money for them. That was a serial lapse. The money has a strict purpose. But on the other hand, looked at in a different light. Could you not say the expense is justified? I'm a director now. Everyone knows the more you have, the more you get. These clothes will probably save us money when negotiation price, and this cheers me up as a stroll back towards the Skiron stall. But then I stop. There is something awful on the ground, like genuinely disturbing. My boots. The leathers scuffed to bits, and I can feel the pebbles cut through the soles. They didn't seem so bad before, but now with the new cloak they clash like thieves riding a donkey just wrong. I stop off at a cobbler and ask for a decent pair. It shows how hard to pretend that you're rich, because first he bought very expensive clothes what he doesn't need, And afterwards, he understood that his pair of shoes doesn't match with these expensive clothes, so he needs to change the shoes. Afterwards, it would be something else, but it wouldn't match for your clothes. And all the time, you need the money that improve surroundings around you. For me, that's a perfect example that if you want jewelry from Cartier, but you have all clothes from Walmart, probably that's not so good idea because otherwise you will look ridiculous. And even more, clothes is a really small part of to be rich because your surroundings, they probably will be rich people also, and you need to all the time keep up with them, and with a small amount of money probably you couldn't do it. If you will look rich, probably other people, they would be change their attitude to you, and maybe it would be discount, maybe it would be another way to save your money, and in some way it could be truth, right? But mostly of the time, if seller want to sell you something, he look at your clothes, he looks how you looks like, and he understood how much money you're capable to give him. Another quote what I love so much is Lempo, and he is with Lyra. They walk alone on the ocean. Lempo promised Lyra that he will buy her, give her freedom. Lyra doesn't trust him, of course, she doesn't have proofs or anything, and Lempo asks her to stay with him, but if she doesn't want, of course, she is free to do what she wants. A potter with a crooked foot, but I think if you were with me, I might be something more. I think I've never had anything to work for, nothing to believe in, really, and a man needs that more than anything. I throw in my lot with you and work till the skin came off my fingers, if it were for us and not just me. A beautiful verse, and it's so much true, because it's not only about men, but about most of the people, because to do something, we for sure need some motivation, right? And what is can be the greatest motivation than responsible for someone, which is to make something for someone. If you do something only for yourself, you could cheat because our brain is very lazy and he give you million of excuses why you shouldn't do it. But if you know that at home waiting for you 10 hungry children, probably you already do everything what you can that they wouldn't be hungry. We are really influenced for each other in some way. Of course, we couldn't change totally the person, but we can influence in some way. For example, if a man dreams about yacht and expensive cars and he is working but he can't do anything, but when it's woman show up and kids show up, he had more motivation to get this yacht, to get these expensive cars, because he wouldn't have so much time just to be lazy and do nothing. Over he will wish that his kids will have a good education and his wife would smile. And mostly of women, they smiling when they doesn't need to do hard work and they have beautiful clothes and everything peaceful. If men before war think or have a lot of time to get a yacht, now their time would be much less because it would be wife who would be say, I want yacht too, so let's faster do it. When they set up performance with Gellon and Lampo, he see some tourists and he decided to sell some tickets for them, but actually tickets was for free, but he decided to sell some. There are 6 of them and it's a very high price. I can see the surprise on their faces, but these boys are flush. One look at the boots, kid's skin tells you that. The money is handed over and I give them the directions, and when they shuffle off, they are pleased with themselves, whispering about their luck. Shouldn't have charged them, says Gellon. This isn't about money. You're warm there, so you give it for free, and rich fellas like that won't bite. I needed to rip them off of them to believe in it. It was already many experiments, and I remember I read about one of them. It's when a woman, she tried to solve some events, but she couldn't do it. And one time she needed to leave for a short time to do something, and when she returned, and there was another woman who sold it, she understood that she actually sold them, and she will ask, how you sold them? And she answered, well, you said that I need to make it more expensive, so I made it expensive, and plenty people wanted to buy it. And that woman, when she said, no, I didn't tell you make it expensive, I tell you make a huge discount. How I see, if it would be discount, probably nobody even look at them, but because it became ridiculous expensive, people start thinking that probably something special about them and decided to buy it. It was different experiments, famous musician, and they made performance on the streets or in the metro, and people just walk past, and they even didn't pay attention who it is, so they just like, well, it's nice music and that's it. And afterwards, when they realized who it was, they had shocked because they pay huge money to attend his concert, and here it's for free, and they even didn't notice him. So sometimes if you struggle to sell something, maybe try this idea and make it more expensive, maybe even ridiculous expensive, and maybe someone will see that it's something special and will buy it. But I'm happy that still we have and will continue to have the stuff of what is for free, but what is so much valuable for us, right? It's a nature what we can look around. It's a love what we have from our relatives. It's a friendship. It's a good jokes. Or sometimes you just need to sleep and you will be much happier. So if you want to impress someone, make it ridiculous expensive. So much enjoy read how it's Syracusans and Athenians, they are together, show up, and they all together watch performance. And I also like to read about that performance. Everything wasn't so much perfect how any performance, but they anyway try to make up the best what they can do. Of course, that tragedy moment when it was this massacre and people died, here was probably too early show up. It wasn't a right spot for this because war is only ended. People still have these fresh memories for who they lost and grieving here to the enemies, and they playing on the stage. That probably wasn't so right moment for that. But in general, I like that idea how art can make you closer even with your enemies, and through the art you can understand each other much more and probably much faster forgive each other. Questions: do we really hate each other? Do we need this hate in our life? And unfortunately we have so many wars around us, and it's really bad. But the worst for me is that mostly of this it's some people who is above, who is rich, and they think that they are gods in this world, and they decided if these people are going to kill each other or no, and they play it and they have fun, and we are just regular people. We have our loss and our griefs, our fears about each other, for sure broke our hearts and our lives. Interesting moment that at the time of the theaters could perform only men, no children, no women, and if it would be some kids roles or some women roles, it was men with a mask. And of the book was very sad, right? When Lepo, he so much won't get this money and buy Lira and give her freedom. Then he came to the bar and he has the money, and he understood that Tyrion, he already bought Lira, and it was so much you can feel his heart broke. That was very awful, of course. When Lempo just sit and start throw coins from the rock to the ocean, and I think there was so much waste because if you don't like this money, if you don't need it, you can give it for the charity, especially after the war. It's for sure plenty people who needed this money. When Lempo helped Petrus, the man from Athens, escape from the course, and when Petrus back to home, he found every pizza. He was so much thanks him for his place because that's what is help him escape, and that's what is help him and others men to have food because they were in this chorus and they were suffering and they were starving. But because Lempo and Gillen they decided to make theater, those people who knows at least something about Euripides, they feed them because they were part of the performance. For the remainder of the night, he ignored the other guests and spoke only to this man. Amphitryon wondered how it had come to this, how on their final night he should choose to spend it listening to the imaginations of this broken fellow. Yet he reasoned, perhaps at the end it was fitting, for his master was ever in love with misfortune and believed the world a wounded scene that can only be healed by story. And I so love this verse because the world a wounded scene it is. Our world is pretty wounded because of us, right? Because we're not so smart with different stuff, but we still have hope, right? And be healed by story. Probably our world is much better because we have these beautiful books what we can read, this arts, right? This music, and probably that's the beautiful stuff what we have in our life, and that it's a little bit heal our souls and the world.